Hey there nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we're back with another episode of Way of the Underhive. This series is dedicated to helping brand new players to Necromunda build their starting rosters and learn more about the game mechanics of their favorite gangs. And on today's episode, we'll discuss playing a completely unique and narrative-heavy list that we like to call the Mutant Outcast gang of Doctor Arachnos, who was actually featured in Necromunda Book of the Outcast. Doctor Arachnos, for those of you guys who are not aware, has like a mechanical arm type situation like Dr. Octopus from the Spider-Man series of comics. This character actually experiments on people all the time and actually has a little horde of mutated creatures that he created that he actually uses sometimes to gather spare parts and resources that he needs to continue his practice. So we will discuss playing the narrative background of this gang as well as describe some of its unique features. We'll provide you a 2,400 point starting roster for you to create in your very first campaign. We'll demonstrate how to play this gang on the tabletop and suggest how you can develop the gang as your campaign progresses. And because this video will be a little bit more of a deeper dive, I will put timestamps in the description box down below so that you can click and navigate to the part that interests you the most. So that being said, let's talk about how you will be playing the mutated hordes of Doctor Arachnos. So first of all, let's talk about the narrative of this gang. Pretty much from what we learned from the lore that we know about Doctor Arachnos, Doctor Arachnos actually has a couple of mutated creatures that he keeps around, which are test subjects that he uses actually to help them out in the battlefield. What he does, he sometimes goes out and harvests more test subjects, get resources to continue on his experiments, etc. So the idea behind this is that this gang is leading scientific inquiry in the Underhive, led by Doctor Arachnos as well as his mutated creatures, in order to make sure that you have a very enjoyable and very unique gaming experience when you use this gang on the tabletop. So first of all, let's talk about some of the unique features about this gang. It's going to be a very close quarters battle focused gang, so a lot of the weapons are within the short to medium range for most cases. At the same time, we'll be using the Mutant Outcast gang rules that came out from the Devil's Gunk Deep supplement through Necromunda Apocrypha. So we're going to use that in order to create this gang with these mutations as well. And because the mutant archetype actually has leadership as being its primary skills for both the champions as well as the leader, we'll be spamming leadership skills in order to make this group a little bit more survivable on the tabletop and keep them around longer in the fight, especially when you got to take in psychology rules. At the same time, we're also having the mutations being used throughout the entirety of the gang. Every single member is going to have a mutation of some sort in order to help benefit them. At the same time, we're also including a Sump Beast. We're including that brute inside the group as well. We imagine that the Sump Beast would be like a giant Frankenstein type monster that Dr. Arachnos has been working on. And so he takes it with him sometimes out into the Ash Waste and also into the Wastelands and into the Underhive in order to, use it as a fighter in order for him to receive his resource that he needs to continue on his experiments. At the same time, there will not be any alliances due to the clanless affiliation that you get as being an outcast gang. And at the same time, we also have a huge Ash Waste vehicle that you could also use so that way you can play on the Ash Waste if you want to. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the starting roster for this gang. So once again, this is Dr. Arachnos' Mutant Outcast gang starting rosters for Necromunda for 2024, and this will be a Mutant Outcast gang at 2,400 credits. It will have the clanless affiliation because it is made up of mutants. So up first, you have your gang leader, which will be Doctor Arachnos. He's going to cost 285 credits. He's going to be the Outcast gang leader and give him the mutant archetype as well, so that way you can buy mutations for all your gang. Now you're going to purchase for him an armored undersuit to go with his mesh armor to give him a 4-up armor save, and you're also going to purchase this guy a web gun to use in shooting. And the reason why the web gun is because it's a strength 5 template weapon that can put people out of action. Plus it kind of goes in the overall narrative that Dr. Arachnos is kind of like a spider monster, so he uses a web gun to catch his prey, and at the same time use that in order to capture his victims so that he can experiment on them. He automatically comes with a last pistol as well as medical dendrites, which are a good versatile trait attack weapon that he can use with toxic attacks. He also got a bioscanner to help you out in sentry type situations. He's also got a respirator for better environmental concerns, and we're also equipping him with iron photo goggles so that way he can see in all visibility conditions. Now we will give him the Iron Will skill, so that way you have one less to your bottle rolls when it comes to your taking bottle tests. And he automatically comes with the Medicae skill. And we're also giving the Vast Bulk mutation to increase his wound characteristics to 2 wounds instead of 1 because he is a mutant. And actually, he's also got the Rogue Dog special rule as well. So the mutation gives him 2 wounds, which is kind of nice as well. He's really ideal for close assaults with his web gun as well as his medical and dendrite close combat attacks as well. Don't forget, he also has the Medicae skill so that we could also help out any injured fighters that you might as well. And at the same time, it's also very useful for bottle tests because of that -1 to your Iron Will. Also, if any of your fighters get critically injured, he has a Rogue Doc, so you can do a medical escort mission for those fighters. So up next we have two Outcast champions. Champion number 1's going to cost you 280 credits. This guy's got the Mutant Archetype as well as an Armored Undersuit and Mesh Armor for a 4-up armor save. He's packing a Flamer, so he's a Strength 4 template attack with a Stub Gun for a backup weapon. He's also got Photo Goggles so that we can see in all visibility conditions. And he's got the Mentor skill, so that way he can pass leadership tests and give additional experience points to fighters who are near him who gain it. And you also give him the Vast Bulk mutation, so that way he has 3 wounds. So once again, you're going to spam this guy's Mentor skill on the Assault, because when you guys go into close combat with a lot of your fighters, we'll be putting guys out of action with coup de grace or actually just defeating them straight out. So exploiting that Mentor skill is going to really help out your fighters gain experience very quickly. With his Vast Bulk trait, he does have 3 wounds. He's very survivable for a champion, and at the same time he's also packing a Flamer, which is absolutely fantastic as well. Now Outcast champion number 2 is going to cost 250 credits. This character's got the Mutant Archetype as well. He's also got Armored Undersuit as well as Mesh Armor for that 4-up armor save. He's also packing a Harpoon Launcher because it's a nice heavy weapon that can be fired without having to worry about unwieldy, and plus it kind of goes back to the idea that you're trying to capture people to bring back to experiment on. He's got a Stub Gun for a backup weapon as well as Photo Goggles so you can see in all visibility conditions. He also has a Regroup ability, which means that if anybody fails a break test, they can just take a leadership test and those guys will automatically recover from break tests. So spam that on the Assault. And he's also got the Vast Bulk ability to give him 3 wounds. So once again, for these two Outcast champions, you're going to be exploiting those leadership skills to help keep your fighters in the fight as well as gain experience quicker. You're also going to have a third Outcast champion, number 3. It's going to cost you 205 credits. This fighter's got the Mutant Archetype as well as Armored Undersuit and Mesh Armor for that 4-up armor save. They also have a Grenade Launcher with Frag and Crack Grenades for obvious reasons, as well as a Stub Gun for a backup weapon. They have Photo Goggles to see in all visibility condition as well as Inspirational, so that way you can also help out with fighters who are trying to break, and at the same time he also has Eye Stalks, so that way you can still shoot from behind cover, and also has a 180-degree vision arc, which will help him out as well. Now you're going to keep this champion back with your fire support team, so that way you can stay back and lob grenades at your enemy using his grenade launcher. You also can use your Inspiration just in case other hives come try to break. You can basically rally those fighters and keep them around as well, which is one of the things he's trying to accomplish for your gang. After you have 2 Outhive size scum. One scum number 1 is going to cost you 133 credits. This fighter's got Mesh Armor for that 5-up armor save, Twin Stub Guns with Dum Dum Rounds for that Strength 4 shooting attack. It's got Photo Goggles so that it can see better in the dark, as well as Frag Grenades to disrupt enemies, and he also has extra appendages, meaning he can actually shoot 3 times his weapons, or have 3 close combat weapons, whatever the case may be. Now Outcast size scum number 2 is going to cost you 140 credits. This character's got Mesh Armor as well as Twin Auto Pistols. He's also got 2 heads, Photo Goggles, so that way you can see exactly where he's going in the dark, as well as Frag Grenades. And the 2 heads is that way he can shoot with 180 degrees field of vision and not have to worry about suffering from the twin guns blazing rules. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take these 2 Outcast Hive scum and you're going to pair them with Doctor Arachnos to act as bodyguards to protect them. Doctor Arachnos will be leading your assault fire team, so these guys' job is to protect them at all costs. At the same time, I highly suggest you upgrade with Dum Dum Rounds as well as Man Stopper Rounds as soon as possible, so that way you get better strength in your shooting attacks as well. And don't forget to lob those frag grenades to keep your enemies at bay. After that, Outcast scum number 3 is going to cost 125 credits. This fighter's got Mesh Armor for that 5-up armor save. He's also packing a shotgun with solid and scatter ammo with a Stub Gun for a backup weapon. He's also got Photo Goggles to see in all visibility conditions, and also the Vast Bulk mutation to give him 2 wounds instead of 1. What you're going to do is you're going to take this fighter, you're going to pair him up with the Flamer champion, so that way you protect that guy from being attacked, so that way the Flamer does most of the work, and the shotgun basically protects the Flamer champion from being attacked at all costs. Pretty much as a bodyguard for that champion. Now after that, you're going to have 2 more Outcast size scum number 4 and 5. They both equipped exactly the same at 105 credits apiece. Both have Mesh Armor as well as auto guns for medium to short range shooting. They both have Stub Guns for backup weapons as well as Photo Goggles to see in all visibility conditions, and both will have Vast Bulk to give them additional wounds. Now these 2 Woof Hide scum, you're going to pair these guys with champion number 3, which is the guys armed with the Grenade Launcher. They're going to provide short to medium suppressive fire with their auto guns as well, and because their Vast Bulk makes it a little bit more survivable as well. And then from there, you're going to have a Scum Racer in your gang. This guy's going to cost you 460 credit. He's going to have Photo Goggles so that we can see in all visibility conditions. And he's driving a custom heavy vehicle as well that is tracked to deal with all kinds of difficult terrain. It's also got a transport bed to carry your fighters, all-wheel steering for better handling, nitro burners for additional speed. It's got a boarding ramp so that way guys can re-roll their initiative tests when they board enemy vehicles. It's got a harpoon launcher as well as a grenade launcher with frag and crack grenades so that way you can hit people at longer ranges with the harpoon gun and drag them off vehicles, or use grenade launcher to suppress. Now this will transport the entire gang, so the entire gang will be mounted on this vehicle. And with this vehicle, you want to get stuck in as quickly as possible, using harpoon launchers or grenade launchers to support assault fire teams, as well as engage enemy vehicles, as well as high value targets as well. And like we said before, you're going to have a brute in this game. It's going to be the Sump Beast. It's going to cost you 310 credits. This fighter's going to have Ferocious Jaws for its standard attack with Lashing Tail. You're going to buy that upgrade, so that way it's got that large versatile attack. You're also give it the Multiple Legs mutation, add 2 inches to its movement, as well as giving it the Clamber skill, so that way vertical distances are halved when calculating distance. It's going to have Scaly Hide upgrade as well for that 4-up armor save. It's going to have the Underhive monster stat, which means you're going to go with the middle stat. We'll talk about what it's going to look like here in a second. It's also got the Unstoppable skill, the Fearsome skill, as well as a True Grit skill as well. Now this is the characteristics you're going to have after you give this creature multiple legs. It's going to have a 7-inch movement, a 4+ weapon skill, 5+ ballistic skill, 4 strength, 5 toughness, 4 wounds, 4+ initiative, 2 attacks base. It's going to be 8+ leadership, 5+ cool, 6+ willpower, and 10+ intelligence. Now you're going to leave this Sump Beast alone on a far flank when you use this creature to act as an assault team. And the reason why is because the Sump Beast has a reckless trait with its attack, so it'll attack everything that's in front of it. So keep this thing isolated by itself so that it doesn't do any friendly fire type situations as well. Now this creature is going to draw a lot of enemy fire, which is going to be kind of a good and a bad thing. While it's bad that your Sump Beast can be shot at the entire time, it's good because it leaves your other fighters alone as well, which could force your opponent to make a very difficult decision about who they're going to target first, your Sump Beast or your actual fighters. It's going to divide your opponent's attention, and that's exactly what this Sump Beast is designed to do. And at the same time, my suggestion to you is to get this thing infiltrate as quickly as possible, because once you get infiltrate for this thing can sneak up on enemy flank and just cause all kinds of hell and havoc for your opponents. And this is what's going to make up what I like to call Doctor Arachnos' mutant gang for your games of Necromunda. So now that we're done talking about the list, let's talk about exactly how you will play this gang on the tabletop. Alright, so let's talk about exactly how you're going to use this gang on the tabletop. So this is pretty much how deployment should look like. The enemy will be divided up into 2 fire teams if they're smart anyways, and that's represented by those orange boxes. Your entire gang will be mounted up on your Scum Racer's heavy vehicle. Now you're going to have a couple of fire teams on this one. You're going to have 2 support fire teams as well as 3 assault fire teams. Support fire team number 1 consists of your champions armed with the grenade launcher, as well as Hive Scum number 4 and 5. Those are the guys armed with the auto guns. Support fire team number 2 will be the Scum Racer himself, mounted on his heavy vehicle because he has both a harpoon launcher as well as a grenade launcher on his vehicle. Now assault fire team number 1 consists of Doctor Arachnos as well as champion number 2. That fighter is the guy who's basically armed with the harpoon launcher, as well as Hive Scum number 1 and 2. Those are the guys who are armed with the pistols, who's got multiple appendages as well as multiple heads. Now assault fire team number 2 consists of champion number 1, which is the guy who's armed with the flamer, supported by Hive Scum number 3, that's the guy armed with the shotgun, and of course your third assault fire team will consist of the Sump Beast. So your entire game is going to be mounted on the Scum Racer's heavy vehicle with your Sump Beast on its own on an exposed flank of some sort. Make sure you keep the 2 teams very separated so that way your Sump Beast doesn't lose control with reckless trait and hurt your own fighters. So the top of turn number 1, what you're going to do is you're going to move as quickly as possible towards your enemy and head directly towards them. The Sump Beast will be heading to one half of your enemy's fighting formations, while your Scum vehicle will do exactly the same thing. Now while this is happening, of course, your Scum Racer will be shooting at your enemy fire team as well with the grenade launcher and harpoon launcher, as well as any fighters you're able to shoot that from the back of the vehicle as well. By the time you get to turn number 2, this is where the real action starts to begin. The first thing that's happen is the Sump Beast decides to charge the flank of one of your enemy fire teams and engages that in close combat. Meanwhile, your support fire team number 1 dismounts. So because of that, this is the guy armed with the grenade launcher with the auto gun. They open fire on whatever fire team that your enemy fire team that your Sump Beast is currently engaged in close combat to lay down some suppressive fire and to help out the Sump Beast as well. Meanwhile, assault fire team number 1 and 2 dismount for the vehicle and make their way directly towards the enemy's second enemy fire team, with your Scum Racer opening fire with their weapons directly at that same fire team, suppressing it with long-range fire. Now ideally by the time you get to turn number 3, the Sump Beast and support fire team number 1 has pretty much taken care of the first enemy fire team. Assault fire teams 1 and 2 charge directly into the enemy fire team that's remaining, hopefully catching a pincer attack, and then you bring your support fire teams where your Scum Racer lay down some suppressive fire, with the Sump Beast slowly make its way directly towards the enemy flank as well. And then by this point you can swarm your entire enemy's fighting positions and destroy them completely. And this is exactly how you would play this gang on the tabletop. Now when it comes to the game development for this, as your campaign continues, the very first thing that you really want to make sure that you focus on is on specials ammo. Things like dum-dum rounds for stub guns, as well as man-stopper rounds for any kind of auto guns that, for auto pistols that characters are carrying, as well as any other specials ammo that you want for your auto guns, grenade launchers, etc. Now from there, the second thing you want to focus on is better armor, things like armored undersuits for most of your fighters. Since almost every single one of them has mutations of some sort, you want to make sure these guys are a little bit more survivable by giving a better armor save. After that, I would focus on getting close combat weapons. Things like chain swords and flails, for example, will be good choices for your gang. And then lastly, get respirators, so that way they can take on any kind of environmental conditions that they might likely to run into while exploring the Underhive as well as the Ash Wastes. So in conclusion, this is just another fun narrative-based game that I came up with using the mutation rules as well as Doctor Arachnos. I thought it'd be kind of a fun, interesting build to create like a mutant horde of test subjects that Doctor Arachnos unleashes upon the Underhive as well. This is much more of a narrative-based list, not so much comparative, and it has potentially be a lot of fun as well, especially when you're spamming those leadership skills to get your guys' fighters improved even quicker. Now, if you guys have any other ideas that you'd like to see being put on the tabletop, if you want to see some kind of unique or interesting gang that we have not come up with, please put it in the description box down below and go down in the comments area and actually leave a comment of some ideas you want to see for some lists that could be on the tabletop. If I think it's pretty cool, I'll make it and I will credit you for giving me the idea as well. So there you guys have it. There's another interesting list on there for the books for you to use. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this week, guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.